Mitchell. I had my stroke March 2020. Guess when that was, guys? Beginning of COVID. So I went to the hospital thinking I was having a heart attack. The doctor came back to me after CAT scan and that and said, do you want the good news or do you want the bad news? I said, I'll take the good news. He said, well, the good news is you have not had a heart attack, but you've had 3 strokes. Okay. He said the 2 strokes are ones you had earlier since MRI you had back in June. But so between June and March I had 2 and then the one that I went to the hospital with. So I just, okay, that's what we had. And he let me go home. Because of the shutdown, they did not want to keep anybody, so he sent me home. So it was about 3 months until I heard from anyone from any medical people. And that's when we finally heard from Parkwood Institute for some rehab. Now, when they called us, we were elated because we were very scared for those first 3 weeks. So when they called, it was great. Now, when they called, they said, we're just starting this because we're in shutdown and we're going to give you a 7-person team and they're not coming to your house. We're going to do all this virtually. Okay. I wasn't really a virtual guy, but okay, we'll do it, we'll try it. So we did it and it was outstanding. The people, the 7 people like OT and all that stuff came and they did it virtually for like an hour. So I usually have like 1 or 2 meetings a day with those guys. And they taught me a lot. At the end of the 8-week course of rehab, I didn't feel that I had enough yet. So I asked for a 4-month extension and it was granted. So I worked with them for 12 weeks. And then after that 12-week sessions, they got me in touch with March of Dimes. And my God, that was a lifesaver. March of Dimes is tremendous in what they do. It could have been anybody, it could have been anything else. I don't know, it could have been another association. But it was March of Dimes that I got involved with and like I said, it was amazing. So now I do probably 5 meetings a week at least with March of Dimes, different meetings. And people can't believe it sometimes. I mean, I might have 3 meetings in a day, and then I may have a day off. Usually on Mondays I have a day off, but it's SES, but it's on the last one of the month, and that's the one I do religiously. Some of the other ones is like from March of Dimes and Mara talked about is the Tuesday Conversation Group. Now this Tuesday Conversation Group is probably anywhere between 40 and 80 people of us together in a virtual room, and we talk about our stroke journeys and what we're struggling with and things like that. And everybody's involved. So what will happen is for the first half hour, we'll talk and just kind of hear what everybody else has to say, and then we'll break out in the breakout rooms and with certain things that people have brought up that they want to talk about. One could be driving, because that's really prevalent in our recovery, because 90% of the time the doctors take a driver's license away, and trying to get that back is a very expensive adventure, and it's good to have people that can talk about it and try to steer you in the correct direction. I have aphasia, so I get kind of goofed up sometimes. So I do that. I do a Wednesday conversation group, and I do a Thursday conversation group. I do Young Stroke Survivor group. It's not really, it's totally up to age 65, so I got a couple more years with them, but I could probably continue with them, but it's Young Stroke Survivors, and you guys cannot imagine how many younger people are having strokes. It's amazing. I don't know why it's happening, but it's very, very, very insurance, they may be lucky enough to have long-term disability until they're 65. So they'll get at least some kind of money until they're 65. But the problem is with a lot of these young people, they don't have a full-time job, and I don't know how they do it, to be honest with you. Living Life to the Full, Mark talked about, that was a very great program that worked on mental health and stuff like that. Then, like I said, we have Access at the end of every month, which is brought on by things that are troubling us, and they bring in an expert and they talk about it for an hour, and they tape it, and it's always available to us. I'm also in an aphasia group that's very, very good, and that goes on once a week. And my wife is part of a caregiver support group, which is very, very essential in learning and trying to cope with me. It's really weird because these support groups that we go to, everybody in these support groups know exactly what you're talking about. Now, if I would talk to you about some of the problems I'm having, you guys wouldn't have a clue. You would, oh, okay, yeah, I have that or whatever. But when you're talking to a stroke survivor, you know exactly what's going on. So it's like a family. It's like a family of 60 people together that know exactly what's going on. And I'm not saying that every stroke's the same. It's not. It's like a snowflake. Every single stroke is different. And it's just a different part of your brain that was damaged, and what that part of your brain can give you as a deficit. Other organizations that I'm involved in is prior, so that's the Brain Institute of Association of Europe Region, where I do a musical meditation once a week, and then a mindful meditation through them. Now, I'll tell you right now, before I had my stroke, I would never ever think about going to a meditation class, or a yoga class, or anything like that. I go to them willingly. I love them. They're really good. SRABC, that's Stroke Recovery Association of British Columbia. I do a talk session with them once every 2 weeks, and that's like the one that we did with the 40 to 60 people. There's usually about 30 to 40 in that one. Listening exchange with Lisa Barker, which is a listening exchange which trains you or teaches you how to listen. It's really crazy to learn that you have to listen to people, because you're always interrupting or something like that, where this trains you to sit there and listen for 5 minutes. Listen to everything they say, don't say a word, and then give some affirmation at the end of it, saying, okay, I appreciate you talking to me about this, and then you can ask questions and stuff. But just to sit there and listen and not say anything, it's hard. And then I do my in-person groups, like the London Peer Support Group, that's going on today at 2:30. That happens on the second Thursday of every month. Okay, so embracing 2.0, and I guess I didn't say that at the beginning, that I'm known as Doug 2.0. And everybody in the stroke community knows me as Doug 2.0. And the reason they know me for Doug 2.0 is because in a writing course I was involved in from a stroke survivor, she had a writing course, and she gave you a prompt every month or every week to write about, and it had to be like 3 paragraphs long. It didn't have to be very long. And so you wrote a story about the prompt, and that was very amazing. But the amazing part of it was the first week that I had it, and this is about 2.5 years in, guys. This is like 2022. I learned I couldn't write. That was great. We're in the middle of COVID. I never had to sign anything. I never had to do anything. I did everything on my iPad. I did voice to text. I did things like that, and I found out I could not write. So when I wrote something, it looked like doctor's writing. It was just a scribble. I'd sit there and write something maybe through these groups, through these conversation groups, I found out that going to the dollar store and getting booklets, like second and third grade booklets where you trace your letters and all that stuff, and adult coloring books. So we got a box of colored crayons, and I started trying to keep between the lines like I was a little kid, you know, making these, and that was the best because I could tell my progression from the beginning until when I looked at it again. So, and that's what I tell everybody in the stroke community. Do something like that that you can see your progression in. Because I always tell everybody, have somebody videotape yourself. If you have some problem, let's say it's walking or balance or something like that, have somebody video, you got a cell phone, videotape you for 30 seconds of you walking from here to there. And then 3 months later, video yourself again for 30 seconds from here to there, and I almost guarantee that you're gonna see progression. You don't see it in your head, you don't see it at all. Aphasia people don't see it in their talking. I can see it from week to week to months. Going to these aphasia classes, I can see the difference between, let's say, Lucy talking today and Lucy talking a month from now. I can tell the difference, but they can't. They say, no, I have not improved at all. And it's like, oh my God, if I could have taped you then and showed you here, you'd see a big improvement. So, and doing that really helps us survive. So embracing 2.0, let's get to that. So what I did in this writing course, when I still wrote and still voiced syntax and all that stuff to make stories, I wrote a story, and it's called Embracing 2.0. And Embracing 2.0, and that's why I had you guys bring up a piece of paper. So Embracing 2.0 analogy goes something like this. So through my stroke journey, I say it like this, and this is I was in denial, guys, for 3 years probably that I even had a stroke. I didn't even want to believe I had a stroke. But in that time frame, that's when I went and had hold on a second, I always forget what it's called, a neuropsych assessment. And when I did the neuropsych assessment, it was about 5 hours long for mine. And I came home from that, from Vic, and I think it was Vic. And I told my wife, I said, I aced that thing. I did well. No problem there. I'm going back to work. So maybe 3 weeks later, they came back with the results, and I failed it miserably. I found out I lost my executive function, and all these things, and there's no way you're going to go back to work as management at General Motors. No way. So, okay, so I'm long-term disability until I'm 65 and stuff like that. So that was very hard to accept that I was not going to go back to work. So through this writing course, I wrote this. So imagine this is a wrinkle that was in my pocket. Imagine this is a pristine piece of paper, flat, pristine, white, no wrinkles or anything. And it's pristine. It's the best piece of paper you can see. That's you. That's every one of you guys right now. If you guys haven't had a stroke or anything, that's you. You're a 1.0. You're whatever, Terry 1.0, Mark 1.0. That's who you are right now. And that's who I was, 1.0. Until March 4th of 2020. This piece of paper crumpled up. Hear the cracks. Feel the crevices. Feel how that paper feels in your hand. This is a stroke, guys. This is a stroke. This is one part of my brain right here that got devastated, crippled, whatever you want to call it. So this is it. So what do I have to do now? I don't know. I'll just have to go to some of the stuff I've learned from March of Dimes and try to, or this is before March of Dimes. But in the meantime, this is what I have to do. I have to try to uncrumple this piece of paper. This is my stroke, remember? I'm going to try to uncrumple this piece of paper as much best as I can. I'm going to try to get it as flat as I can. try to post it all over. Shit. I can't make this back to 1.0. I'm never gonna make it back to 1.0. I'm not gonna be the original self I was before my stroke. I can get close, I can get back, I can try to get back to 1.0. But I was in it now. I will not get back to this one or the Prestige 1.0. So I have to look at this and feel all the lumps and the crevices, and there's no linear lines on here. It's all a roller coaster and stuff like that. That's what I have to go through in life. So this is your life now. And to get through all that, you have to get with Marching Dimes or somebody or some have some kind of support group that's going to get you through. And that's what it does. And that's why I'm Doug 2.0, because I have progressed from the beginning until now. Like I said, I wrote this story about stroke and how I got out of denial of stroke. This is used all over the world. I've had interviews from Australia, California. I got a lady in Japan that's using this. Different people that are using it. For a stroke survivor, that just gives them, oh my God, that's what I needed. Because everybody says, find a new you. Well, who the hell's the new me? I had no idea. And they show them this, and they go, okay, that makes sense now. And that's it. So that's about all I got. Like I said, I got this story going, and at some point I'm going to start a support group, Embracing 2.0, to help survivors get to where I'm at today. So try to get them and help them out.